This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. We just made Star Wars history with that actually being canon. Oh my God.
I loved it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Sarlacc Digest, a community bringing you line talk and digesting Star Wars topics over 1,000 years. This is episode 227, being recorded on September 20th, 2023. I'm your host, Darth Moocher. I got Scott Solo.
What's up, nerds?
Ernie the Fallen Fat will be here. I have word that he is back in town. He will be here shortly. He's wrapping up the Fallen Fat Chronicle, so he'll jump in. And from all across the globe, Chris, the Grand Admiral Franz, has to be here. I texted him to wake him up because he's in England right now to be here because this is his moment. He can't just let us speak for him because I will. I will definitely speak for him.
This is what he's been waiting 30 plus years for, is this moment right here. And he's not here. What the hell?
He's not here. He's sleeping, but he assured me he's coming in. So speak of the devil.
Hey,
there he is. Chris.
Yay, what's up?
How's it going, man? I know it's early for you, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm not. I would have been on last week, but I can't miss this week, right?
Yeah, no problem. That's why I text you. I'm like, come on, dude. The pit is screaming for your name right now. So
no, I'm beat. I got a cold, but
sorry.
let's do this.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Dude, I'm so happy. I'm like really happy right now. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've watched it like 5 times. I'm ready to roll.
seriously. But
All right.
of course, before we get into all that good stuff, we have to shout out our Patreons and everybody who's joining us live in the pit today too. So kick it over to Scott. Do your thing, man.
All right. So, hey, thank you to our Patreon patrons. We really appreciate everything you do for us. Just so you know, next week, I think we're going to make, is it Monday? We're going to make an announcement on YouTube.
Yeah. Look,
And then,
subscribe and like.
that's right. Of course, on the show next Wednesday, we'll make the real big announcement here for everybody. So you just know what's going on. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool. A lot of you that are already subscribers are going to do nothing but benefit from this. So I think time to get pumped, people. And, just brace yourselves. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, scan that QR code right there and become a Patreon subscriber right now. You're gonna like it, people. And it's just going to get you trying to skirt around it without saying too much, but it's going to get all of you kind of a little bit more involved.
You're kind of trumping it right now. Right?
Yeah.
Like this is the biggest, the greatest,
hey, it's
I'm going to show you.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, but that's it. I'll stop right there. But we want to say a special shout out to AJ from the Forbidden Panel, Brandon and Anya Epler, Cliff, my good buddy Crystal. Thank you for joining us as a Patreon subscriber. You're awesome. Of course, Darth Josepher, Dennis McGrath, Don the Dad Dorn, Don and Brady of the Escape Pod podcast, Eric Grubb, Flavy Dave, formerly of the Nerds with Attitude podcast, Gavin Connor, currently from the All Cure Holy Hour podcast, Justin the Vanilla Thunder, Mervine Bolanos, Matt Logic. Welcome aboard, Papa Schmitty. We appreciate you joining up too. That is amazing. And of course, Ryan and the Star Joe's podcast. You have no idea how much we appreciate all of you. And I can't wait till next week so you can see what's coming and you can be thoroughly disappointed in whatever it is that we have cooked up for you.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
that's it.
One of the greatest thing ever to happen next week. It's going to top all these last 3 Ahsoka episodes.
Maybe.
I did not make that promise, just so we all know.
Ernie the Fallen Fat is joining us. Hey, what's up, man? Straight from Hawaii or fresh off of Hawaii? Awesome.
Yes.
You
How
got
are
that.
you guys?
You got that tan
What's
in
up,
your
Ernie?
cheeks. I like it.
Yeah.
I love it. I wish it could stay.
I know, right?
Yeah. How the heck have you guys been? I haven't been here for a while. I apologize.
I know. It's been rare since we see Joey can't make it tonight, so we don't have 5 on, but you know what? We'll manage. We'll manage.
You have been missed, Ernie. You have been missed, my friend.
Thank you.
I mean,
Chris,
we're about
where
to-
the hell are you at?
England.
Yeah.
For reals?
Yeah.
What time
That's
is it?
why.
Right now?
I missed last week too because I was here and I couldn't get up. But I'm awake this week. Dude,
Are you okay?
I thought the same thing last week too. Like, dude, there's no way I'm missing this week. And I said, fuck it, I'm tired. This week, there's no way I'm missing. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad
Well,
you're
This is
here.
more for the pit than anybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, a lot of people were like,
this buildup has been for years. There's no way I'm not going to be on the Thrawn episode.
Absolutely.
exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Well, welcome back, Fallen Fat and Grand Animal
Thank
Franz.
you.
It's good to have you guys back, and
Right on.
hopefully Chris is back in the studio next week.
And feeling better.
Yeah, and feeling better, and
That'd be cool.
yeah, all that stuff. And speaking of the pit, of course, Scott, go ahead and shout out everybody who's in there because I know they're dying to hear if Chris is pleased or if he's just like, oh man, this sucks. So we'll see.
Right. Of course. So in the pit right now, being digested, we have got Gordon, Papa Schmitty, Darth Josepher, Miss Sunflower. What's up, Miss Sunflower? Let me see who else we got. We got Cliff. We've got Don the Dad Dorn, Gavin Connor, Santo 1414, Crystal E. Let me see. Scrolling down. Nebulous B is in there. Felipe Terrazas, Arizona Toy Hunters Guild is in there. Nicole Marie. We've got Julianne Fernie. What's up, Julianne? Geez Louise, it is going off. And anybody else who is not popping in and saying hello, say hi, get a shout out.
Nice. Cliff is saying those nice sisters must be good cooks because Thrawn packed on a few pounds. Hey man, it's been 12. Like I said, it's been 12 years. And you know, hey, the weight fluctuates, and
it's not noticeable.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at those shell people, they look awfully tasty. So you know, he's probably been eating some shell people.
Little stew. Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Yeah, Don, man, that this whole the galaxy far away, it became canon. It became a thing, like not just us, but yeah,
right.
And the argument about which one's better,
right? It was great.
Was so awesome.
The whenever he starts off, would you like to hear one of these stories? And she's like, no, not right now. And I'm like, shut up. Yes, I want to hear all the stories. Tell us the stories.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Again, I'm trying to get to everybody in the pit saying hi. So if I miss you, just chime back in. But Nebula's B's in there. You got Darth Josepher. Jeez, man. Okay, guys. Should I get into Star Wars news and rumor, or should I just go right into the episode?
Can we just? I've been edging to talk about these last couple episodes. So
let's get right into it. Honestly, let's get right into it. And with what we prefaced the show with, and what Don just said. Okay, the opening scene before they get the Ahsoka title screen. All right, the whole Hu Yang and Ahsoka banter back and forth. Okay,
the cold open. Yeah,
cold open.
Awesome.
Thank you. I know it concluded with this a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and I've always thought, like, if they ever did something like this in Star Wars, it would kind of be, a little cheesy. What? Yeah, right. And I was like, you son of a bitch, Filoni, you son of a bitch, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it, and you made it.
There's no way they made that work.
and
make me cry at the same time.
Simultaneously.
Unbelievable, right?
I'm not mad at it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Yep. And it just, this whole thing about, go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say this whole series, though, it seems to have these moments in every episode where it's like, I want to burst out cheering. I want to start crying. I want to just shout out, "Oh my God, this is what I love about Star Wars." It's the Anakin and Ahsoka meeting, seeing each other in the afterlife last week. It's the, it's seeing Ezra. Anyway, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. It's these moments.
Nicole Marie, fantastic opening with Hu Yang and Ahsoka. Absolutely.
Yep.
That that would have been funny as hell. Did he start the story with chapter 4, right?
I wish he did.
That's wait a minute. I felt he did say, though. Did you guys feel that too?
I felt the 1, 2, and 3, like parts 1, 2, and 3, meaning the trilogies, and of course one being starting with the original, and chronological, not chronological.
Yeah, I took it like that.
Every fan.
It was a nod to us. That's all it was. It was.
You know what's great is I do other shows and everything, and they took it as the prequels, because that's what they grew up on. And I said,
the first one.
Chronologically,
but I said, you know what? Everybody's going to be right on whatever they think.
I agree,
because
man.
it's what they grew up on to say that. And I immediately took Trilogy, and so that's
part 1,
the first one,
because that's what we got first,
exactly. And I was like, wasn't that great? And they're like, oh no, she meant the prequels, and I'm like, no, she didn't. And then somebody typed in and was like, well, that's not what I did. I'm like, yes, everybody's going to be right. Everybody,
don't even really have
what they think of.
If we take it in canon, because it's canon, and they're going to tell the stories of the past, they wouldn't even work, because 3 wouldn't have come out yet, right? So you can never tell the story of 3.
That's true.
I get that if it was a nod to us, I think it was just a nod that they have that everywhere, right? Yes. That there's going to be 3 stories, and we're all going to argue over which one's the best. Because she could have said that.
Well, here's the thing too.
The same one
we didn't come out with yet. Let's just not go through 3. Let's just not go there.
Yeah.
No.
But I get what Chris is saying, because not only that, in this one, wasn't that great too to say out loud? Jedis win, Empire wins, Jedi win again, Empire.
Oh, when we get to Baylon. Oh.
Yeah, that. There's so much.
Follow the Jedi, rise of the Empire. Yeah, that delivery on that is
correct.
Top notch.
That's why I'm saying there was I felt so much nods to us with that of the stories, and then to say
I have a great setup for that later on when we talk about Baylon and get into that. Okay. A great way of all the content that's coming out with this. that does tie in the sequels. And I wrote it down because it's the first thing I had to run and write this down because I was like, I got to present this to the guys. But we will definitely get into that because that is like so much in this episode was dialogue, and so much of it was like edge of the seat, like what, like come on, you know, and that's what I appreciate so much more. When it comes to these, I mean, I knew it was not going to be an action packed, but at the same time, it kind of was, right? Like emotionally action packed, you know, versus explosions and stuff.
The slower moments were so well executed that it felt like it felt edge of your seat. You know, you weren't sure if when she's riding that horse dog that she was going to get picked off by a sniper, you know, trying to hit her in the chest or something.
Yeah.
It just,
And then how about the after of it? So Star Wars, the whole, you knew he was running back through the thing to chase her. We were all waiting for it, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it was just so all Star Wars.
The levity in it, the comedy in it, So
exactly.
The one thing that was like really cool because I'm, you know, I have these when I talk to you guys about it and we talk about it on the show, I go like, you know, nobody's they're not. It's like they're Anakin should have. What I'm trying to say is there should be some dialogue in there that's catching up mechanics, like whatever. With Ahsoka telling Hu Yang, like there's something I didn't tell Hera about Sabine that she went willingly. That was like a moment to me personally. Like that is such a Filoni thing that he put in there that I absolutely love about what his way of storytelling is, that he doesn't forget these things because they're not fleeting moments in Star Wars. This is a very important thing. Ahsoka says like, I didn't have time. There wasn't enough time for her to marinate, like to go get.
Oh, but the willingly though, the willingly was about Baylon.
No. She said Sabine went willingly with the enemy
to the enemy.
Right. And then that's when Hu Yang said impossible. And I remember, and Ahsoka was like, right. you know, but Hu Yang had the best comeback for it though. But maybe Ahsoka saw as the only way out. And that's and that made Ahsoka take a step back, which I was like, oh my God, you're answering all my questions and you're delivering all my hopes of those reactions.
Like why she did it without explaining it is what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. And kind of, like we had all discussed last week. You know, what was her other option? Not go? Right. Ahsoka's dead. Right. You know, Hu Yang was us right
Destroy the map. I mean, but that's the whole thing, right? She had the chance to, like Ahsoka said, Sabine had the chance to destroy it and she didn't. She went volunteering. Like Ahsoka's going by what she knows. She doesn't know all the details, of course. But I thought that was cool for that dialogue to happen. And I was like, oh my God, we're already like, this is what's separating this series and this Star Wars from a lot of other projects out there, is that they're actually giving a lot of attention to important plot points and character developments through these things, not just, you know,
they're not leaving it hanging. They're not, everything that comes up that worries us. Yeah, every time I'm worried about something, you're right. I'm like, snip, and they get rid of it, and I'm like,
and you never come back to it, and it's like at least there's effort here.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was very cool. Like I said, just one of the most, it's probably the best intros, cold openings that I felt we've had to date. You know, for all these Star Wars shows, you know, just the cool thing. And I did expect this to kind of like, okay, they're sitting in the whale, they're traveling, and there's some either Ahsoka's meditating on something, or there's some dialogue between her and Hu Yang, and just kind of going, and not just like, okay, show up, boom, 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 right? There's some things that need to be said, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, so I know that Miss Sunflower had a question about Thrawn when we get into him about his pupils, and we'll get into that. We'll definitely get into that. So
I've marked a few comments that whenever we get to that part in our conversation, I can pull them back up and we can talk about those. So yeah,
perfect.
I am monitoring the chat.
Nice. All right, guys. So I'm going to bounce around here. Okay. So again, this is how we do it, right? Bounce around and we'll talk about everything. I'll try to save Baylon and stuff for kind of like later on the show, but I do want to just really jump into Pridia, what it is, what they're said it is, and the Night Sisters, and this being the ancient homeworld of the Night Sisters, where Dathomir is their homeworld on our galaxy, right? So that's the ancient homeworld. Kind of desolate. It's a graveyard for the Purgle, you know?
Oh my God.
Now, to me, this is like a dire situation, this whole thing that's being set up, because if this is the graveyard to the Purgle, and it's like a one-way trip for them, like they don't leave this place. And I know Ahsoka is traveling on the big one, but there's a lot of little ones. I don't know if they're going to go home or if they're going there to die anyway.
I don't think they die every time. I just think when it's time to die,
that's their final. There. Okay.
Yeah, I think those things are pretty old. Well, I mean, it takes a long time to go through the galaxy too, I suppose.
Yeah,
but I didn't take
the only reason the only reason I bring it up is because it's like everybody's situated to Paridia, and it's like one way out, one way in, one way out kind of deal. After the Purgle leave, they're stuck with the Chimera and the Eye of Sion, and so now we got 3 days because Morgan said it's going to take 3 cycles to basically power everything up and leave. So they already gave us a time frame. They gave us a one way out of this situation. So I guess when the Purgles drop off Ahsoka, they take off, and the only thing that's could take anybody back to our galaxy is the Eye of Sion, right? So it's going to be this race to the finish now. It's just. So they're setting up this dire time restraint. 3 days to get everybody on board or to escape the planet. Who gets stranded? If is there going to be a cliffhanger at the end? I'm on edge on thinking about that because of that situation, right? That's one way out of this planet, and it's in a one shot. After that, you're there forever.
You're stuck. This is what I like about it, though. We are given this time constraint, and unlike the time constraint in The Last Jedi, this actually works. There's actually some tension here. The time constraint adds to the all the stress, and which it didn't in The Last Jedi. It was just
we don't know how long a rotation is.
No sense. True. Yeah,
but so there's no stuck time, right? Like 18 hours 18 years for rotation. 18 hours is dumb to give me a thing, right? Or anything like that. But 3 rotations, that could be anything to us.
Anything. They could have 36-hour days for all we know. You don't know.
Way better than saying 18 hours and we're gonna run out of fuel and blah blah.
Yeah. Gordon saying, did I understand that it would take 3 days to load Thrawn's cargo because most of it was in the catacombs? That's what was mentioned. Yeah.
So my question is, are they loading everything from the catacombs into are they loading it into the Chimera, or are they going to take it up to the Eye of Sion?
Why it's so big probably is that it's going to take the Chimera with them. So
that's
the Chimera is going in there. That's its ring.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. I love every second of that idea.
And Mr. Scott Dubb, Thrawn plans to kill any Purgle arriving too. I don't know if it's Purgle, but he said
he did
space whales.
Any kind of space. Yeah.
He said
did he say space whales? I thought he said
star
whales.
Star whales.
Star whales.
And this is what's driving me crazy is they I feel like they're saying star whale to us, to get everybody that's watching that's unfamiliar with Rebels.
Yeah.
Just a basic.
I think eventually they'll switch it over to Purgle forever.
I think they're committed now. I think they've committed to star whale, but they should just started with Purgle. I mean, it looks like a star whale.
That's okay though, because again, I'm going to forget what the space worm, right? The asteroid worm is called Exogorth, right?
Sand people,
most people don't know that.
I mean,
right? We know that, so that's what matters. We know what it's really called. The casuals can call it a star whale.
Right? But to go from calling it Purgle in Rebels to star whale is just like, it has a name. Call it by its name. It is literally the only thing I can really nitpick out of this season. So
and exactly. I don't even nitpick it. I kind of prefer the star whale at this point, just because
it just glosses over. It goes like, I know what they're talking about.
I just take it as we've got the technical name now. And we roll. So did they ever say the word wampa or anything like that in
wampa?
No, we just always had the technical terms, right? Besides a rancor.
So Pridia being the graveyard, that was great, right? The rings around it was all the graveyard for the Purgle. Now you go back to the credits and you watch the credits all the way to the end, and everything converges onto one. All these lines go to one planet.
And it never comes out. You're right.
No, it never goes out. That's why I was thinking, is this a one-way trip for these, or how lucky is Ahsoka to find the one whale that's going to Paridia to die, you know what I mean? But and it could be just like they're dropping off and leaving too, but the credits do have everything converging on Paridia, you know what I mean? And I always look at that like that's important, because after everything's said and done, the credits are like tells you the whole story, just like Game of Thrones, just like everything else, right? Like the credits are.
I watch it every time now. I love the credits.
I do, man.
The kind of cool about the star map, whenever we saw the star map and they finally pointed to the world Paridia, and you had the whales circle in a ring around the world, and now they go to the planet and there's a ring of Purgle bones around the planet. It's amazing. It's so great.
Yeah. I everything going back, like that's what every episode has given us more information from the first episode and just kind of like plugs it all in, and we're like, oh my God. So cool. Now Pridia is the planet, and now we'll talk about the Night Sisters being their ancient homeworld. Okay, so I know that like I said, there were some people confused. Like I thought Dathomir was, and I thought, now what is this new place? And it's like, well, that's where this is. And now I'm switching gears in my head to be like, everything came from this ancient homeworlds to the galaxy that we have now. And I think because this was a witch, the Night Sisters planet, and it was abundance. It had statues and temples everywhere, right? They're on their last leg, and it's probably why they're helping Thrawn to leave their planet too. Because I always question, like, okay, why are the Night Sisters even helping Thrawn and all that stuff? Like Thrawn's smart. He's probably promising them Dathomir, or promising all these other things if they can get everybody to leave. Because I said I have a theory going on later on that I think that this galaxy is a wasteland galaxy. It's desolate. It's slowly dying to the point where now the remaining people have to get off this to try to come. I say here, our galaxy,
like the entire galaxy is just void of life.
And I have a theory on that to later. So it's like why that galaxy's dead, and that's why the ancient homeworld. It's like, because I'm like, okay, what's the motivation of the Night Sisters helping Thrawn and sending Morgan Elsbeth the signals to build, to come there? Like I go, there's a reason.
Which was a great answer to that question. Who is calling out to Morgan? Because she's getting a signal from Thrawn, knowing that Thrawn is out there, and it was nice to get that, because I know we were all kind of everybody's been trying to figure out that mystery.
Another checkpoint.
Had a discussion about Thrawn not being force sensitive and how it possibly could be. So all that conversation went away. Because
again, revisiting back that. Yeah, like revisiting those things, like don't leave us hanging, because it doesn't make sense if Thrawn was doing it. This makes he could in a way, but
I had already worked it out for that argument, and that's what sucks. Is I was ready to him. They're making him force sensitive. I have to be ready to combat that because I can see it, but it sucks.
Yeah, I get yeah. 007. Every episode, I'm more and more sad about Ray Stevens' passing. 100%, dude. Like I know that they're being silent on the matter, and of course, and that's fine, because you got to let this thing play out, right? And it could be, it's just that they're just like, hey, let's let it go out there, and then we'll deal with moving forward later and whatnot. But it's a shame, man. It's a shame because the dude is superb in this role.
He's quickly become my second favorite villain, I think, in Star Wars as a whole. But just below Vader. Vader's of course top notch, but he's right there below Vader and I don't even know if villain is quite the right word.
I was just going to say that. I don't even see him as a villain. He is a great character. Because he hasn't honestly done anything villainous. He's
just a hired mercenary right now. Yeah,
but he's hired.
Right.
Yeah. But he's explaining we don't know what it is that he's doing. So that's what I'm saying. We haven't seen. I know what he's done, and he has locked up Sabine, but then he's made these promises and he did that. And then what he keeps explaining to Shin on everything. And I felt this episode, Shin kept looking at him, giving him a look like, kind of, are you still with me? When she asked, do you miss the order? Do you, there was a lot of looks in this episode, and I do wonder as we get into that what it's going to be. But a great character. He is amazing. His look is just so. Oh my God, just so.
He's got the coolest look of everybody.
Yeah, he does. He really does. his stature and his demeanor,
and I'm digging his backstory. I am digging the backstory.
Oh yeah,
So
every little added nugget. I just want more. You know, now tell me a story of him in the Jedi Temple.
I think we're getting it, but like more of it, and as we go forward, but going back to the Night Sisters, right? Like we got proper Night Sisters and 3 mothers to add it too, right? Just not just regular Night Sisters. These are 3 heads of, it's so funny. I know a lot of people like, they said witches always come in 3, and it's like Dave Filoni knows this. He knows this, Macbeth, the three witches that predict the future. I mean, that's exactly what they did here. Is they told Thrawn the future. You know what I mean? So Thrawn is like
threads.
Oh my god. So and I was so happy with this. And I was trying to go back and like, I know Morgan is a Night Sister, but is she not the race of a Night Sister or a Dathomirian, or is she like somebody who
she says developed into? I don't know if they all have the paint. They all maybe have different pigment.
I don't think she's evolved to that yet.
Oh, maybe. Huh? Maybe.
I feel like
we've never seen it. We've always seen that race. We always seen Dathomirians.
So I think she is. She heard them call. She heard them everything.
Well, that's through the dark.
Right. To that. Yeah.
Could be. Well, I see her transform beyond. What this is all over. That would be cool. If that was.
I feel like there were rumors about her being a Night Sister from the get. I don't think this is really a fix in the end, right? That would kind of explain it. Like, they decided to make her a Night Sister. And that kind of throws off.
That's the only thing I'm questioning, is because of she doesn't look like them, obviously. But going back to Clone Wars, and every one of the Night Sister on Dathomir had a race look to them. They were had the white face with the black markings and everything.
Even
Asajj
kind of
didn't
have the markings though.
She just had her normal face markings that she had, even as a child. So. Yeah. I never quite, because I just rewatched those episodes of the Clone Wars too. I never quite understood, was she a Night Sister, or was she just adopted into the sisterhood after?
That's what I'm saying. Like
with her and
maybe trying to rebuild this way, and maybe she's like a Padawan.
Maybe that's cool.
007. Interesting how one Night Sister said Sabine reeked of Jedi. There's definitely the trilogy of witches going on, where you're gonna have the smart one, the one of always threatening, and then the one that sees the future. So it's like this. That's why there's 3. It's it's symbolic.
I have a line talk about that. I have a line talk theory about that.
Oh, go for it.
Let's do this.
All this happened the very first time of seeing it. I don't think it's Sabine. Sabine doesn't even have force power. She's a Padawan. I think they automatically looked at Sabine, and I felt that she was talking about Baylon, not knowing. They just knew a Jedi is here because they said it. They didn't say she, nothing. They said it. It reeks of Jedi.
Right, because Thrawn did question Baylon later.
Yes,
about that.
Yeah, and so
he knows Baylon's an issue.
Who's not force sensitive or anything. I think what they're feeling is him.
I just think they can feel her inner working. Well, they could probably be Baylon too, right?
That's how.
Not even her potential, but just her soul. I would say her intent.
Yeah,
that's how she's been around Ahsoka very long, right? So she's been trained by a Jedi.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, dude, and because it kind of works into like the Baylon thing when they didn't call out Baylon, right? And that is a huge deal because when Thrawn introduces himself and they go through, he's like, General Baylon Skull,
right?
And goes that whole thing. They cuts to them intentionally to see them look shocked, right? And they're like, we didn't pick up on that. So was it the dark side clouding it? Was he clouding it? What was it there?
Sure.
Or is he that powerful where they can't sense him? What's wrong? And so there's some good stuff going. I don't know if they sensed him or not. They might have. But I just took it as that there's effects of the training on Sabine that they're picking up on.
Yeah. I still have a feeling that at the very last episode of the series of, the season, she is going to move something with her mind, or she is going to be able to sense something.
They're leaning towards it heavy.
Yeah. And I think it'll just be just maybe that mug that she had a little while ago.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
Just an inch. And then cut.
Cool. I think so too. I think so too, because it's always
they almost did it this episode.
They did,
right? Yeah, they were damn near there when it started shaking. I was like, "What?" And then one of the coolest scenes ever showed up.
Dude, I want to get right into the entrance of the Chimera, and that whole thing again, like teasing us again about Sabine and the Force, right? So, teasing us because I think it's going to happen. I don't think you tease it like that just to drop it. Even Dave Filoni knows it. Like you're going to have that little shake of the cup at the very end, one of those scenes.
You're gonna have to.
Like,
you've been playing it up too much. You're gonna have to now.
It's the whole if you see a gun in the first act, by the third act or second act, it's fired. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The third time she does that whole handout, it's gonna happen. That's yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, now we have almost a 1-to-1 shot of the Chimera with battle damage, like we left off with Rebels. This entrance, the entrance of Thrawn in this thing was cinematic gold, in my opinion, with the entrance of the ship. Yeah, the music behind it, the shadow that it just came over everybody. And right before in Thrawn showed, it was just like Thrawn's coming, relax, right? That's what the Night Sisters told Morgan. And this menacing, just like, oh my God, I was just like so freaking happy. And it had the gold plating on it to fix the hull and stuff, and of course the battle damages from the Purgle, and it's just wow. I can't like there's certain moments in Star Wars where we pick and we put it at this little wall, like certain images, and that one with the Chimera coming over that ruin, that one right there is absolutely one of them. Pinnacle
the Chimera
moment
in live action making its first appearance.
Yeah,
it was perfect. I mean,
just
everything
the drama behind the slow approach, and you start seeing the tower come over the. Oh my God!
Yeah,
dude, and it was just a great transition from Sabine's trying to use the Force into it. It was just it was beautiful. Like I didn't get to talk about last week real quick, so let me do the transitions and the things they do right now are beyond top notch. So you keep masterclass is the word being put out, right?
100%,
and that's what's happening. It's too much, man. The last 3 episodes are probably my 3rd favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, dude, you're not wrong, and I'm 100% agreeing with you. And yeah, Gordon, I was just like in shock, because I was, again, like we always have these worries in the back of our head, like it's going to be the last second of this episode where we'll see Thrawn coming in, then we have to wait till next week. No, this was this was a complete Thrawn episode. Like,
last week was all Ahsoka. This week was all about Thrawn.
Love it. Yep. I love that I'm wrong. I love the fact that, like, even Ray Stevenson said in the interview, he said like anytime you guys think you have it figured out, it flips the script. Every single moment, every single character moment, it's just like you think you have Baylon figured out, boom, it's complete opposite, or it goes in this direction. And you think out what he has it, and boom. Same thing with like Thrawn's entrance to this. We figure, it's just gonna be a teaser because that's what movies and series do. But no, Dave Filoni's like, I'm giving you everything. We are writing a story here. When you're reading this, there's no like wait 5 years for the payoff. You're getting a payoff 20 minutes into the episode. Boom.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
All right.
Part, the chant.
Okay, so Thrawn's obviously got his legion of stormtroopers. He's got the Chimera. He's got TIE fighters. Yeah.
Hold on. They're night troopers.
They're night troopers, and the proof of that is in the captions.
Yes.
Because when they're chanting Thrawn, it says night troopers chanting Thrawn, Thrawn, Thrawn. So that is where
that should clarify what these guys are, right?
Yes. Yep. Night Sisters, Night Troopers,
Stormtroopers.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to talk about these guys for a second before we get into Thrawn, because this is so freaking important. So every one of these dudes, again, and I forgot somebody mentioned to me, I think it was my son who texted me, said, what the gold, like they're that whole gold plating they have on these things, that's what like ancient samurais used to, or ancient Japanese warriors used to repair their armor with gold fillings, to repair everything. And I was like, that is such a great, because there's so much mythology going on here, and so many things, especially when we get to Enoch over there.
They tried that with tried that in The Rise of Skywalker with Kylo's helmet with the red.
Yes, they did.
But this is so much more effective.
J.J. Abrams, take note. This
is pretty fantastic with the red Night Sister ribbon. I think you made a point to that. Right, there you go.
So and that's why they're called Night Troopers. Yeah.
The thing with the ribbon that I immediately went to the zombie troopers is that is Night Sisters. But at the same time, if we just think of magic, how do you do magic spells? You always have to bind it, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Every single one of these is bound by a ribbon. Every trooper has something. So that should immediately lead you to
when Thrawn said
zombie troopers.
Yeah. When Thrawn said, I need your dark magic once again.
Yes, he's bringing more troops.
I'm thinking that was the first time they helped him out was raising all his troopers. And I'm thinking that too, Ernie, because it's not uniform. They're all over the place. And like I said, it's either the troopers, they're so loyal to Thrawn and Night Sisters that they've done it themselves, or it is they are the risen army of the Night Sisters, which I'm going towards. And those are the bindings. You cut those bindings, they die. And that's why Thrawn later on just said, hey, just send 2 squads. And like they're like, is that enough? They're like, that's enough. Because
Did you notice also Thrawn was very deliberate? Everything with Thrawn was very deliberate. Whenever they asked that question, there was a pause, and he looked at Morgan like, "Are you seriously questioning me right now?" And I'm just the Thrawn being epic. Darth Josepher wondering if their shot is more accurate than stormtroopers.
I'm gonna say yes.
I think so. Crystal E with Enoch disturbs her. Dude. And Enoch is this gentleman right here.
Yeah. One thing to note, he doesn't have any bindings on him. That was like the first thing that we can see. Okay. There's
Does he not? A lot of I thought I looked, and I thought he did.
He has a red like
sash.
It's not it's not I see that, but nothing like the obvious bindings that we see on the other troopers. It's got his stuff is red as part of his uniform. Now, like I said, this could be just something I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I think that's a whole undead troopers, but Enoch is alive. And the reason why I say it is twofold. It's because, again, no bindings, but also a lot of people are reading into the biblical term of Enoch in the Bible, where he walked amongst God and he was alive when he entered heaven. He never died. And so you have this dude called Enoch walking with God, Thrawn, you know what I mean? And he's like the only one in this army that's not dead or not a risen soldier. You know what I mean? And he has
a face.
And he has a face. He's got as a character.
That makes sense. He's the living one amongst everybody, so he gives himself a face.
Yeah.
He actually does have a red sash underneath his belt. I'm going to share it with you guys.
That's what I thought. Yeah. I checked that same thing.
Yeah.
What he looks like, that top half there, nose up, he's the idol from Indiana Jones, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Gordon, Enoch, very biblical, loyal to the end. That's exactly to
the end. Okay, there's the other thing, right? Oh, by the way, trooper right behind him with that helmet, what the hell's going on? But
I know.
I don't know.
Right?
There was a lot of them with some great
There's several of them. Yeah.
You could see another one to the right. Another one half on the eye.
Those might be pilots, or
I think these guys. Remember, I said he needed an army and somebody to fight, and they needed the Nogri. These guys have taken the place of the Nogri. That's his work, right there. If anybody takes Thrawn out by the end, Enoch is going to turn and stab him in the back.
There you go.
That's
dude. Like I said, every direction we think they're going, it's opposite. It's this like major thing, because it's like it's never straightforward, and it hasn't been. And that's what's really great about this series so far. Hasn't been straightforward. It's been like, okay, well, that's even better. Yeah. That's even better. You know what I mean? And that right there would be awesome.
And Andrew JLA boy, is Captain Enoch maybe a chiss? I don't think so.
It's all humans.
I don't think so. I think he's one of the
Thrawn's the only
remaining.
Thrawn's the only chiss on that ship. Nobody else could get there, right? He was the only chiss in the Empire in the regular universe.
Could Enoch be a Zabrak?
Enoch, nobody should be anything but human on that ship.
Yeah,
unless they got him from that planet. Unless the troopers are risen dead from Dathomir, or from that planet.
Right.
Yeah, I would think they'd have to get them somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why
they didn't just use the dead troops that were already in the armor. Yeah. If they wanted to bring in Zabraks, if they wanted to rise the dead from under the ground, put armor on them, it could be. But you see spikes.
We're also assuming that the Dathomiri witches and the Zabrak
are the same, right?
Are the same race, and they're not. They're two different races. They just
that would make sense.
They just live on Dathomir. It would make sense.
You're right.
Maybe Dathomir is
Why
the home world of the Zabrak or something, and
they invaded, took over half of it, and let them have the other side, and that's why they're the dominant species on that planet. That makes more sense.
Perfect, right?
Before we go on and saying that, and how they keep saying that they rode the whales and everything, right? The only thing that I question from this whole thing is, but the whales went there to die. So how did they get?
That's where they
were talking about.
Ask them to come to bring her there. Like that's the only difference I could see. I'm saying Bernie is Ahsoka asked them.
The Night Sisters,
right?
They said they had to leave there to go to Dathomir, but if they went there to die, are they riding dead Purgles back?
No. Chris was talking about it earlier that it's just a migration route that they probably make that trip several times in their life, and they just go to Paridia on their final trip.
Salmon go up the one upstream the last time, mate, and die. Yeah,
I hope. Right, because one trip is kind of sad to go back and forth. Now these feel like these should be ancient creatures. Why there's bigger ones and why there's different sizes, right, in the same pack.
Right.
Otherwise, how do you breed? How do you add? How do you do anything? You know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So the nerd alert. Yeah. The nerd alert asked real quick, what do the red bandages represent? He popped in late.
No problem.
We think it's binding from the Night Sisters, right? The witch,
it could be either or. It could be one of those things where they're
spell.
When they brought Maul back, or Savage, was there a bunch of wrapping around them? Have we seen a shot of that by chance?
I don't remember that. I just watched that.
You know how I see it though, Chris, is this is like a larger spell because it's so many of them, they have to. It's not just one. You're not just bringing one back.
Well, these are OG Night Sisters too. So Mother Talzin had her way of doing things, and but Savage was just green mist going into him, and then bringing him back.
So is Maul. Whenever they repaired Maul's legs, so is he. He was just all green energy.
No bandages. But again, it could be, like I said, it doesn't mean that they're not undead. It's just that it could be just their loyalty. They mark themselves up with the bandages for as loyalty to the Night Sisters and everything too.
They're totally
or could be like I said, a more darker turn, but the bindings, as I'm thinking, like you got to cut the bindings to actually kill them, otherwise they just keep coming back. So that would be cool too.
What are they loading from the catacombs? Because if you look at the shape of them, they sure as hell could be coffins of some sort, some kind of stasis.
They did look,
they looked very coffin-esque.
No, I thought they were the coffins.
I'm assuming too, like, I mean, they have to have some sort of fuel, fueled for the Scion too, to power back, unless they took enough with them for 2 trips. I don't know. It did look like a bunch. No, that would be interesting because so one of my thoughts here is like the one thing that I didn't get out of this episode was when Thrawn entered, and we got Thrawn, and we're gonna talk about his look. We're gonna talk everything right now about Thrawn. But when he came and they were chanting his name, and he approached Morgan and Baylon, everybody, and the sisters were right there. They basically were like, hey, thank you for giving my message. I'm just cliff noting it here, right? It took you long, what did you say? Something like, is this my, like a sight for sore eyes kind of deal. But nobody ever told him, or maybe off camera, that the Empire is gone. It's remnants. It's like, what's he going back to? You know what I mean? Like with the legion of troopers that he has back there, it's not enough to take over the galaxy. I don't know. Like, I would love if there had been something where, like, we need you because we're scattered around the galaxy, and there's enough of us left. But that wasn't said. And what Ernie was talking about, maybe those are troopers that they're loading into the Chimera, would make more sense. Like, we're coming back with a bigger army than we see here. Because, again, nobody told Thrawn, like, Vader's dead, the Emperor's dead, or, Alpha to Exegol. Nobody knows that. The Emperor is scattered and trashed everywhere. The New Republic rose. Nobody's told him that. So it's like, what does he think he's going back to? You know what I mean? Thrawn should know that being this, if he's going to take over the Empire, there's no Empire to go back to. And there was no dialogue towards that. And so I'm wondering if we will get it, or what do you guys think about that? Like,
I feel like they're future seers, the sisters. They keep talking about the plan and what they saw. How come you didn't see Sabine or what's going on? We're talking about how long he's been there and him talking with them and them sending the message to her. I feel like they're seers, so they can see what's going on.
Maybe they told him already.
Conveyed.
That's what I feel is this is what they've told him.
Yeah.
You know,
you're muted.
As what it is.
The death of the Emperor and Vader would have been felt hard by the Night Sisters, I would assume. Right? The Emperor specifically.
Yeah.
Even past, like I would have loved
at least feel the blue spirit release something crazy, and then they would start looking and tell Thrawn. I think Thrawn's in the know. Now, maybe not all the details, but they said your empire has fallen.
So that's like an off-camera thing, you know what I mean? But for like us, that would have been something where I need to come back and complete or do something. It just makes a little bit more importance of his or danger of his return, importance of return. But we can headcanon that where it's like the Night Sisters saw visions of his return and his inevitable takeover and stuff like that. But it can also be like they should have said something to us as an audience, being like, since everybody's gone and scattered, we need Thrawn to unite.
I'm sure we'll get some kind of talk with him and everyone real quick about that's why the Night Sisters created the night troops and blah blah. We're ready to go.
Yeah,
it seems like every time we have a issue, like, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they say that? The very next episode, it's taken care of.
Filoni's us. I have zero worries anymore. I don't stress it at all.
Miss Sunflower says, as one of the cargo passes in one of the foreground shots, something rattles inside. I have to look at that again.
Something's coming alive.
I might have been crying way too hard to note it. Like, but I wouldn't doubt it because, like I said, the troopers were moving very slowly and methodical about these things. They were like very lifeless, if you will. Like if you really read into like when they were grabbing those boxes and loading them in, they were just like slow walking side by side. I mean, nothing didn't look alive to me. And again, maybe I was just in my head going like, oh my God, these are,
because we already knew. Right, we're like, these are the zombies. Okay, we're good. And then you start seeing it more. Like a trooper's not really all that personable either. But
they walked.
I think they were doing that on purpose.
I feel like we're gonna have the big scene of a crack of the helmet. We're gonna see the skin and the teeth.
That's what we're in.
I really am. Yeah.
And I hope it's an old death trooper, like a zombie trooper.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Really looked like when the Night Sisters rose the dead from and Dathomir. Looked like they all sunken in. No eye. In Filoni we trust. Absolutely. Geez, there's just there's so much. Okay.
I wasn't sure, man, to be honest. I coming in, I was like, everything can F up. So in Filoni we trust has been said for years and years and years. And I'm all, well, this is the big chance. Or if he doesn't hit this like every note perfectly, we're gonna lose this, right? Yeah. We're not gonna get these shows anymore. Then he comes in and hits it. I mean, we're only just a little bit over half. Well, we're two-thirds of the way through.
We got 2 episodes left.
Yeah, I mean, and he's killed it. So
he's killed it,
now
and
it's to the point where I have zero concern.
Yeah, I'm there with you, but you're 100% right. When Filoni was interviewed, he says, "Look, when we ended Rebels, he thought it was it. I'm never going to revisit this again." And then when he was kind of asked to, he was like, "Well, I don't know how to bridge this point that I did
to bring Thrawn." He didn't kill Thrawn and Ezra on purpose. And he had to find a way to bring him back.
Bring him back.
The best way. This is how he could tell the story. Yeah.
And it's like it's not black. It is so. It's like it's so complicated, but yet so simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like poetry. It's so.
By the way, he also said he knows how Luke and Ahsoka met and had all their thing. He just hasn't figured out a way to tell the story yet. Said, it's awesome.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Right? What the hell? This guy's got shit in his head that I just need out immediately.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you guys think of Thrawn?
There we go. I'm gonna tell you this: the coming up, the Chimera, the Thrawn, the long view, everything was going great. And when it took me out, the one thing that took me out was his side view, and it pulled me out. It was the only thing that stopped. Last week was my first perfect score. I know I wasn't on, right? But last week was my first ever Star Wars perfect score on a show, because that's top.
So good.
Yeah.
This would have been a 5 as well. if it didn't pull me out for half a second.
I agree, man.
It pulled me out. What was the first thing you guys asked me what I thought? My first thing was what happened to Thrawn.
Yeah.
That was my concern. Right. And people complain about it, like, why are you body shaming this guy? He's 70 years old and blah blah blah. I said, because it's Thrawn. And Thrawn, who did I want to be Thrawn acting wise? Matt Smith.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Because Matt Smith has broad shoulders and slim waist, and he's tall. And that's how Thrawn comes off to me, and a physical threat as well as a menace in his mind. Right? It's
two things.
I feel like he's trained his mind, his psyche, and his body the same.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can, and it could have just been his posture here, but again, he's 70 years old. It's been 10 years. I'm pudgy. I get it. I can actually cosplay as him better now. So it all kind of works. So you said that, you said first watch you noticed it, second you didn't, and that's exactly how it went. I haven't thought about it again.
Yeah, because I was so emotionally invested into what we saw, and then as a second watch through, and as this goes into our database of Star Wars in general, the emotion kind of trumps sometimes the visuals and characters too.
I'm glad you said that. Actually, that's who he reminds me of right now. It's Elon Musk and Donald Trump mix. Like Elon's face and Trump's body, and I'm just having that kind of. Damn, they're like really making him into, that piece, and that's just how I saw it. Like, damn.
If you never had references to Thrawn and he came
Wouldn't
in,
care.
I mean, wouldn't
care.
Okay.
In Rebels, 1991.
Right. Well,
there's a problem.
In Rebels,
he's had pictures.
In Rebels, they've made a very big point of him training constantly, fighting dark troopers.
Sure.
So you kind of have it in your head that he is always going to be doing that, fit and everything. But the first thing I noticed was the hair piece right there.
Yeah,
the hair piece
there, dude.
The side piece, that was like, oh, ouch. Okay, interesting.
So it's almost like
I took all that. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like how they did the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor had the starts of the look of the Inquisitor, and then it just kind of like fell through. Like Thrawn, they do have the forehead aesthetics going, but it's so subtle, and it's and this is live action stuff, and this is honestly, it's nitpicky, but it is to a point where it's like it's a little distracting. The side view of Thrawn, but to me, it's almost like, is the performance or the look more important, right? And that's where you have to blur it a little bit.
The characters are more important than the view.
Yeah.
And don't get us wrong, Pitt. We're not hating on this. This was just the initial reactions that we had, and then it was all went away, overshadowed by the performance. Yeah.
This is my favorite character, and if for a sec you have it all in your mind how it has to be, and it has to be perfect, right? And it wasn't, and that was the only part, because it pulled me out for a second. I had to adjust my view of Thrawn, which has been built for 30 years. So you can't get mad about, but nobody can get mad at us for body shaming, because I've had this character in my head for 30 years. If all of a sudden Darth Vader came out and he was purple, I would have a problem, right? And I know it's not as dramatic as that, but the body style is something important. But
the body style, it's to me, it's the hair.
70 years old.
Yeah, the hair, the jet black.
Now.
Yeah. The jet black hair was weird. But again, it's just something to where it's like, okay, everything that's going on, I'm just, and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I know people are going to complain about this. I know it's what they're going to say. As soon as he turned, like, oh, he's got to be, I knew it zeroed in on the problematic, nitpicking. I'm gonna say nitpicking, but it's all, it doesn't
suck in your guts, boys. We're the Ghostbusters. That's how I see it.
Right,
exactly.
Suck in your guts, boys. I'm Thrawn. Gut in, chest out, and it was the opposite. It was gut out, chest in.
Yeah.
Julianne says if they would have cast somebody else to play Thrawn, fans would have been ticked.
Yes.
Now that they have the actor, they complain about his weight and how he looks.
I know.
You're absolutely right, and it goes back to what she said.
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying I'll nitpick his weight, but I would have chose Matt Smith.
She's talking, and I'm referring to this earlier comment. How do you guys or anyone deal with the constant complaints on all Star Wars content? All the complaints are tiresome, and they really are. It gets exhausting.
What we do is we talk about the lore and what the content that we're given versus the complaining of it. Like it's like I just said, we'll address it very, very briefly about the complaints, but we delve right into his performance and what Thrawn did and what he said and what it means and what he's going for. And I think that overshadows a lot of the complaining, and we've been doing that since the sequels. I mean, we actually made the sequels in our heads what the purpose of the sequels were. It's content versus, as much as we tried.
And Captain Jack here, I completely disagree with Captain Jack here. He says it's weird because his look isn't nailed, and this is the part I disagree with. His voice doesn't sound exactly like his voice in Rebels, which is weird because it's him. I'm sorry, it sounded exactly like Thrawn to me. The cadence is a tone.
Yeah, because like in Rebels, it's a little more drone and lower and more slurred, thought out. Yeah, like very like
They said they had to do that because he said he had to do that. They had to adjust the voice a little bit because the animated voice just didn't work with the stuff that was going on in the show. Mickelson already said he had to adjust it, but it's the same voice. His cadence might be a little bit different.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a little less Dracula because the music's a little less Dracula too, right? He's got a cool theme now.
But the organ is still there too. The organ playing whenever he's in the room, it's in there, but it's more like a heavy metal organ. There's like some reverb on it. It's awesome.
It's way cooler now. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's 100% right. And like I said, it's one of those things where you notice it, but it's like, I'm like, Thrawn's here, man, and what he's saying is like just, oh my god.
007 here, he says it's kind of weird how all the other characters have different voices from Rebels, but Thrawn is the same. It is, but now every time I see Sabine on screen and Ahsoka, I especially Sabine, I hear Sabine's voice. And Ezra, whenever Ezra popped up, he sounded pretty spot on. I
thought Ezra was fantastic. Yeah.
I thought he was getting voiced over.
Correct.
Hey, but I'm not going Thrawn yet. We're not jumping to Ezra yet.
Right. Okay. But as far as like the voices change, it doesn't. It's close, to me. It's like it's live action is close enough. Like a lot of people with Hera's look and stuff. I'm like, it's close enough. It's Hera to me. Like I see it. But I see a more battle hardened Hera than a
mature Hera,
someone running in guns blazing Hera that we got from the cartoon, because again time passes, and I think that's important too, to put it in everybody's headcanon that you got to put time in this, and there are shots of Thrawn, there are scuff marks on his uniform, but he tried, like you could tell how he tried to preserve that uniform crisp and clean, but there are smudges and rips in it, and it's like,
that makes me more angry about the weight then, honestly, because if he's working that hard to keep his look up, and that is part of it, right? He has to keep his look up because he's the officer. It's flawed.
What I'm saying is
that's
like
the flaw, but
that's what I'm saying.
I'll drop that now, by the way, but
okay. But I mean, like I said, Thrawn is trying to hold up being Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He shows no weakness.
He's still being Thrawn.
But Sabine did kind of call him out on something and made Thrawn smirk, and which I love it, because it's like the character of Thrawn never changes, right? So it's like when Sabine said, because he was like, go find your friend Ezra, I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain and let you go find your friend, and I'm going to give you all the resources you need and whatnot, and here's his last known location. Presume that he's still alive, right? And she's shot back at him, well, if you made it out, then Ezra's fine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then Thrawn looked and kind of like smirked and like laughed and took that, because that's how calculated he is. He took it as like, I'm going to give you that. You know what I mean? But not as,
don't need to battle.
Yeah. He picks and chooses his battles, which is the smartest thing to do. And and everybody's like, well, why did they release Ezra? Or Sabine? I think Thrawn still probably holds a grudge on and let Sabine go so they can track her. And when she finds Ezra, she can kill them both. He's been doing that in Rebels since day one, letting them win, but so we can get the bigger picture. Right. Because I think even Thrawn, even if he has a clear shot out, I think he would want to defeat his enemies before he leaves. Like that's kind of a flaw.
He let her go so we can get Ezra. He needs Ezra for something. Ezra is trying to escape him.
Otherwise,
I didn't care. He would just let Ezra die. There's a reason
I didn't pick up on that.
Right, roughly. I think he wants Ezra back. He kind of knows where he is. He sends Sabine out there to find him. So
that's true. But he also sent Baylon and Shin to destroy them both.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And then he said to Morgan, it's like, if in 3 days we're leaving without your everybody.
Sorry.
He's like, F them all. I'm sending 2 squads to go help. But I think here's the thing about this, about Thrawn's interaction with Baylon and Morgan, all these things. So he let Sabine go to find Ezra, just like, I'm holding my end of the bargain because I'm a nice guy. You know what I mean? That's the whole his underlining or faking to Sabine. So she goes out there, sends Baylon and Shin to go out and track them down, destroy them both. And then he says, I'm giving you 2 squads of my troopers to help. And I think it's like he sent those troopers to go kill all of them, because he even questioned Baylon as a Jedi, saying like, Ahsoka's alive. When the sisters came out and said somebody's coming, and Thrawn is like, it's Ahsoka. And I thought Baylon killed him. And then Morgan's like, he assured me, and she says, but he's still a Jedi. He was a Jedi, not still.
He's flawed. He's flawed because.
And so and so that point was like, I'm gonna send out 2 squads of troopers, and basically like find them all in one place, kill them all, and then that's how I kind of taking it right now. Again, everything goes like a roller coaster, right? But that's kind of how I'm taking it, where Thrawn wants to get rid of Shin, Baylon, Ezra, Sabine right in one fell swoop, because like anybody who he thinks can undermine his power, he's going to get rid of. And that could include Morgan, and that could include the Night Sisters later too. You're muted, Chris.
No, he needs a Force user, or it's not heir to the Empire. So he needs either Night Sisters, Baylon, Shin, or someone, right? He has to be in there. It's
sure. Yeah,
he's got too many Force users now to get rid of them all. Could you imagine? I'd be so pissed. We have all these great villains. He has to.
But I mean, it doesn't mean that he succeeds on it. It just means that that's where we left off. Everybody.
No, I mean, basically, he needs him. If he tries to kill him, he won't have him anymore. It turns him to some other side.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he needed Ezra, wouldn't you think that he'd be currently looking for him the whole time? Like,
well, he has his last known.
Why would he send Sabine to him? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's yeah, I understand what you're saying, because it's like it fits the narrative, going forward. Like he needs that person, but with Ahsoka on the way too, maybe knowing that Ahsoka's coming, maybe his plan changed. Like maybe I could just get Ahsoka.
Yeah, let's kill all my Force users because the Jedi's coming.
But he'll have Ahsoka. You know what I mean? Like you can have Ahsoka instead of Ezra.
Ahsoka can come up and kill you.
Ezra's lost. He's over there. Ahsoka, they know they're coming. They can grab her. You know what I mean? Like she's in their path. Ezra's not there. So it's like, I don't know. But I see you're looking at you're trying to tie in the book. You're trying to make it work.
I'm tying in Thrawn. Thrawn's not wasteful. They're resources.
You think he needs a Force user, but does he really go in? You know what I mean? Like Heir of the Empire, yeah, like going towards those books, but not what Filoni has in mind, is what I'm saying.
The good guys are going to have Force users. It doesn't make sense.
We don't know this. I mean, he doesn't. I don't know.
Sabine and Ahsoka exist and have apparently Force powers, and that Jason is there, and that Luke Skywalker's around. And
do the Night Sisters know all of that and tell him all that stuff? And it's like, I mean, that's a lot of knowledge that far away to.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where we try to figure out the direction, and then it goes sideways, and then it goes this way, and it could come around. You could be totally right, dude. Like it could be a ploy. Thrawn never lets his plan known, and from what he actually let it known, it's like in his mind, it's always something different. It's always something like of a bigger a bigger plot in his head, what he's trying to do. So if he sends Baylon and Shin out and he's telling it, this is the reason why I'm sending you out, he can have a different motive on it too.
Yeah.
It could be for tracking purposes or
Very originally, you thought there was going to be 3 factions.
I did.
Right? Could Baylon and Shin be a 3rd faction here if they get left? And that starts it up?
I could
because they might have what he's looking for. Remember, he's looking for some original power.
Yeah.
Power beyond everything.
So do you guys want to get in? Do you want me to get into my you want to get me into my Baylon theory about this whole thing?
Oh, go for it.
So, and of course we'll circle back to Thrawn and stuff, but let's like Baylon and the stuff that he's been saying, and like he's there on that planet with this. He went there as a mercenary, but I think he had bigger ambitions. Okay. He doesn't really care about Thrawn's plan. He's just like, yeah, Thrawn's going to start a war and he's going to do his thing, but I'm here for a different purpose. And he's telling Shin this, right? and he was talking about the cycle, about ups and downs, up and down, up and down, up and down. He's like, I'm tired of it. Basically, I was in the Jedi Order, but they're flawed, and it just makes room for an empire to grow.
And it's just as it's done again and again and again.
Yeah, and which is a very odd thing to do. Because my thing is this dialogue with Baylon is a long-term plan that we're getting not going to finalize in this series. In this even the Mandalorian or the Dave Filoni movie, it's going to go, to me, it's going to carry on all the way to Rey's movie, that Dawn of the Jedi or the Jedi Order movie that's going to take place after, because there is taking in the sequels in consideration and all. I mean, we have to. They're there. The last big intergalactic struggle was the rise of the First Order and the destruction of it. Right? What happened? It was that power flux again. So if Baylon's there on Paridia, and what I said before about the galaxy being desolate, maybe of ancient technology, if this is the ancient galaxy that started the whole thing, or where our stuff came from, but it's no longer there, and it's the Bricata technology or whatever it is that destroyed that galaxy. I'm thinking that Baylon has a bigger future of like, how do you end the cycle? By destroying everything, by devoiding all life on the galaxy, so there's no way if anybody can rise in whatever. He's like had it. He's like becoming, in the Old Republic games, is Thanos wanted half because of resources. It's almost like in the Old Republic games, the Emperor wanted to eradicate all life. He just wanted to end all life in the entire universe. That was his ultimate goal, and that's going back. And again, that's not canon, but it's in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. Baylon has come to the conclusion of like, there is no winner of this. The Jedis aren't going to win. The empires or whatever bad guy, if empires rise and fall, it's a continuous thing. Even Shin said like, well, it's our turn. If it's going to be a rise, maybe it's our turn just to live in that moment. And he's just like, no,
fleeting. That power is fleeting.
Power is fleeting. Yeah. And I'm thinking like Baylon is going to bring on something that carries past the sequels, past the First Order, is that the First Order will be the last empire to rise in that galaxy, because Baylon is bringing in this, and that's going to be the conflict. I don't think it's going to succeed, but his way of saying like enough is enough, and his whatever he's trying to bring or what's calling to him on Paridia or that galaxy or whatever is what he's going to bring in to try to set on this galaxy as like no more. That's the only way I can think of like the power flux to stop.
See, and I was thinking that along with that, this also helps set up the Dawn of the Jedi. If he's going to where it all began, maybe that is introducing us to this thing that will eventually become Dawn of the Jedi, where we see the ancient past in whatever movie or television series that takes place in. Maybe that is a part of it. It
actually makes sense for me for the future of, like I said, past the sequels, and the reason why they're doing a Rey movie in the beginning. When I say Rey movie, that's just because that's what we know it as, right? We don't even know if she's like a main character or prominent in it. We just saying Rey movie. 15 years after the sequel, or 5 years after the sequels? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, why? And I'm looking at it towards like real life, right? Story writing versus what we've got into the galaxy. So I'm like, what's the purpose of revisiting Rey and everybody and the events after the sequels if what Baylon said was true, meaning like we're just on repeat? So after the First Order and the New Republic builds again, and the Jedi build, and then another empire will rise, and then the power struggle continues, and it teeters back and forth. So this is to me a very finalized way of not going there anymore in Star Wars and storytelling. It's just kind of like we lived in peace for into eternity or until the next threat or whatever. But that power struggle about empires rising and falling, that it's got to end somewhere. Because I'm trying to make sense of like how quickly the First Order rose in the shadows of the Empire, and it was quickly destroyed. And then it's like waiting. Okay, so then the New Republic will do it again, and it's just this whole thing. I'm like, there's got to be a way to end it on that power struggle that Star Wars has been the whole time. You know what I mean? Revisit it this one last time, and I think maybe Dave Filoni's figured out a way, or the story group's figured out a way to do it. And with Baylon, so I'm thinking Baylon's, and like I said, we talked about Ray Stevenson, but his character arc goes beyond this. He's the big bad, is what is in that sense of everybody's fate.
Interesting.
And his point of view, it's that like I said, with the Old Republic, the Emperor eradicate all life. Not even my life, like done, you know.
Oh,
Chris is having technical difficulties, I think. But
he's done too.
Yeah, but yeah, Rhino hobbies. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there are no more Sith, no Jedi. But that's Baylon's point was empires rising and falling, and it has to do with dark side and light side. It's the power struggle of dark and light, and I think maybe, like I said, Baylon has found something that.
Even in our world, it's happened over and over and over again. You think of like the Roman Empire, everything. Empires rise and fall. It's just an ongoing cycle. Every time there's a war, it's always over power, struggles of power. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think Baylon's plan is to bring on the First Order, if that's a thing too. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Because it's just the same. It's the same thing. I think he wants to destroy it all, and I think he's figuring that out, and that's why he hasn't really let Shin in on the master plan of his. He's just like, just wait and see. I train you to be more. Yeah, I think there could be some conflict there, and or she like I said, she kills him to bring on the plan because he struggles with it, you know, or because he like I had cold feet on it. I don't know, but
he seems very resolute. She seems very. She doesn't know what the hell's happening, but he seems very resolute. She doesn't know what's happening.
That's the key,
right?
Yeah.
So I could see, and we know that Rey can't carry on, unfortunately, which, you know, we've gone over that several times, but
yeah,
I could see Shin taking him out and carrying on whatever mission it is, or taking him out to stop whatever mission it is that he's on.
Well, like I said, she wants to relish in the power. Like, if it's our time to relish in the power, let's just do it. And like, almost like, let's live through the party, man. You know what I mean? That's what her comment was to him. Yeah.
She wants the power. He doesn't want power. He wants to stop it. So, I mean,
yeah, they're going to have a conflict.
Just a thought. Yeah.
Someone said something about always being dark and light. I can't find the comment, but yeah, there's always a dark and light side. The force is the force. Now, there's always dark side. How you tap into it doesn't mean that the dark side is fighting the light side. You know what I mean? It's people who are manipulating it to use it for their advantage and manipulation of others. So the struggle is tapping into
war.
But 100%. Yeah, it's like an energy, and you just take that energy, shape it this way or shape it this way. So they just call it dark and light, and it's different ways how to tap into it. So.
Crystal E, one of the comics I lent her, said the Force needs a bad and a good side to keep it in balance. Yes, I made Crystal read Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, in the power struggle way, yes, that's the balance means something else. But like I said, if it's energy in a jar, it's not hurting anybody. It's whoever opens that jar and manipulates it to their will, you know, change it to their will, and it's through passion or through, you know, the light is how it takes place. But there's no like power. I don't think there's like a without people manipulating, there's like this forced power struggle. You know what I mean? And if there is, I mean, I don't know of it. I haven't seen any.
No, I think they cleared that up with Mortis.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. As long as people are tapping into force, there has to be some sort of balance of it, and that balance sways. You know, it sways.
This whole time we should have been showing this guy on screen as we were talking about him.
Yeah, it was so cool because again, before they were sent off to hunt down Ezra or Sabine, right? It was this, and like I said, we got so much Baylon content. We got so much like his plan coming to fruition in ways that offers more questions than answers, which I appreciate that, because that's what we do. We theory craft. We stand in line. We talk about Star Wars, and I love it that we don't get all the answers, and you know, we can kind of like shape our own.
So many times we're left wanting more.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm finding myself in this show? I don't even really want a theory craft. You know what I mean? I'm riding this one, and every time I think of what's going to happen, I really don't care, because I want Filoni to do it. Just show it to me this time. This is probably the first one that is so well written I don't have to.
You're 100% right, dude. No, you're 100% right, because a lot of times when we really deep dive is because we're trying to fix or we're trying to make it work, right? Now
or
we're
make it cooler than it needs, or make it as cool as we can possibly make it, and he's already doing all that. So.
Yeah, and that gets exhausting. True. So if that gets exhausting of constantly fighting the fandom is like trying to make things work and forcing to work this way. I think I agree with you. I think everybody, or most 99% of people, are on board with what we're being told here. And trust in those last two, like I said, all the players are here now. We've got everybody in frame, everybody, from Zeb to Ezra now. Like, we got everybody. So now it's time to move the chessboard around, the pieces around for the conflict. Like how are things going to come to fruition? Who's going to survive and all those things. So
it's funny you said we have Zeb now, and I honestly now think that we saw Zeb in last season of Mandalorian, so we wouldn't have to see
him. Where is he?
Yeah,
you're 100% right, dude.
Yeah.
And
that's why we saw Zeb hanging out with Carson, is because we weren't going to see him in this, but at least we know he's alive. He's part of the rebel, or
there's really no question other than, like, when's he going to come join the battle? You know what I mean? That's that's a great point. That's a great point.
And is he? Because you don't have to be a crew forever. Right. I mean, just maybe not join the battle. Maybe I guess join the battle at some point. Just come in and swoop in, but he's not going to be part of the Rebels crew.
Yeah,
anymore,
he went and yeah, you're right, man. Like, obviously Sabine went her way to train with Ahsoka to do that, and then Zeb went off to join the Rangers, right? We'll just call it that. And then Hera became a general, and she's doing whatever patrol work. And
God, you just made me think of something. If we would have still had the Rangers of the New Republic, would Zeb have been a major character in that show?
Yeah, I mean,
oh man,
I think we're gonna have something like it, and it's gonna be.
I think that like the Rangers are intertwined now. It's not a separate show now. That's like I said, what Chris said, with Carson showing up with Hera, Zeb should have been there too. But I'm just, hey, whatever. He's off doing other things.
Zeb things.
He was hungover.
He always has a different partner. I mean, he had the guy that. The
Trapper
Eastwood this time, right? Again, but he usually has a different pilot with him most of the time. He switches people around. So
yeah.
He had the guy that played Luke in a different one.
Yeah. So my Sunflower is saying is Baylon maybe looking for Bendu. I don't know if Bendu, I don't think has any.
Bendu could be found in the other
game.
He could have been found in the regular universe. Galaxy.
Yeah, but also, like, okay, just say that there's a Bendu or a race of Bendu here too, like ancient. But I don't think that the philosophy behind the Bendu has a foot in the game for Baylon to manipulate. Like, I don't
agree.
Yeah,
the middle.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, so yeah, it's Callus. Where's Callus? 007 is saying Callus.
That's a great question.
Let's get to Ezra, guys. We got Sabine. Okay, so this sets up a kind of like a conflict waiting to start when Sabine finally, besides the cool turtle guys and the mercenary or the nomads that are out there. I love like original Star Wars designs like that, right? That was the very Tusken Raider and these very So
those guys are. I know William Scott Crawford really quick. He is freaking out because they are all clothed. He wants to know how to put the clothes on. If they have shells, are the shells removable? What's happening? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if they're based off turtles, they live in them. So I mean,
like
I don't know. Good question. I think they're attached to him because none of them are seen without, like, even the little baby one, right? Even the baby one had a shell. I don't know.
How do you get the shirt on?
That's true too, guy. Well, like I said, if they're turtles, they can come out of it. I mean, I think
like a hermit crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they, as they age, they come out of the shell, grab a new shell, grab a bigger shell, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that idea. There you go. But
also, I'm sorry, Mr. Scott Dub wants to cosplay as Ray Stevenson. Cool hair, beard, demeanor, just all around great look. I've decided I want to be Ray Stevenson. I want to, when I get older, I'm just going to let it all go white and grow a big beard. Now I want to
talk in cryptic messages and just kind of
working on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just answer in 1 or 2 words every time somebody asks me a question, but say it forcefully.
Yeah,
that's what I'm aiming for.
I can't wait for the figure to come out. And then I also was like, okay, shit, now we're gonna have like seven more stormtroopers to collect.
Or more. We'll get one of those sets for us vintage collection figures. We'll get one of those.
You'll get the
packs of 5
army builder ones. Yeah.
Love that.
Is Thrawn going to be your first hot toy, Chris?
Yeah, someone asked that too.
Is Thrawn going to be your first hot toy?
Perhaps it might be. I canceled the Vader. Vader was almost.
So yeah. So yes, Thrawn will be. Yeah. But nice. Would it be this Thrawn? You know what I mean?
No, Thrawn we're gonna get.
Do I get thick Thrawn or do I get?
Is it going to be
Thrawn?
This Thrawn or cartoony Thrawn? You know what I mean?
Like
that's a good.
They have a hot toy right now, or one out where he's in the throne and he's sitting with his legs crossed.
Yeah.
I can't picture this one like that.
No.
Give it time.
I just can't.
Give it time. By the end of the series, you might be all like, "All right, I'm getting this Thrawn."
I mean, they might have killed.
Don't get me wrong. I love Thrawn, and I love this iteration of him. I love everything he said, did everything. It was just the first second, and if you didn't notice it, or if you're saying you didn't notice it, I got to be truthful with yourself. It was noticeable.
Oh yeah, It was 100% noticeable, and I was just like, "Oh man, I got to talk to Chris. I got to I know he sees it. You know."
One excellent design point they did with him is they really pumped up the glow of his eyes. You know, they weren't like glowing, but they were so much brighter than they were in Rebels. Where in Rebels they really toned it back, made it almost a pinkish red. Here they were bright red. And
someone asked,
I love that choice.
Yeah, about the pupils. Is anybody disappointed in the pupils? I'm like, I'm not, because it's the Rebels had the pupils, so I'm like, whatever, you know, like
it was. Miss Sunflower.
Oh yeah,
she likes that.
Pupils. She likes that Thrawn has pupils. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, follows line of vision. Yeah, because I mean, every time it was always comic books or book covers that we saw Thrawn as, you know, with the no pupils and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. It's very playing Star Wars video games with chiss involved with no pupils. It's very easy to follow their line of sight, by the way, because we do it with 3PO and we do it with droids and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
they point their head.
But that's a great. But that is, I agree with that. It doesn't bother me because again, I understand. I'm understanding the character and where it's going, and I'm just like full on into it. So the look is the look. It is what it is. That's why I always say, like, that's what Thrawn looks like in this world. That's who he is. It's not anything different than what it's supposed to be. That's what exactly.
And we've never seen this era Thrawn in canon. So it's okay.
Right.
Good.
Right. Exactly. Let's see. Julianne is also saying, so is Sabine really to blame for everything that happens in the future because of her choice to hand over the map to find Ezra, and Thrawn is cut loose from exile? Well, remains to be seen, right? We have to see it all come to fruition. But, you know, again, Ahsoka brought that up in the very beginning, questioning it, and Hu Yang kind of shut her down by saying Sabine saw this only way out. And then, but Ahsoka says for selfish reasons or for like the greater good. And I guess it's like remains to be seen, right?
Yeah. It's a really tough question to answer because I mean, if she would have destroyed the map, she was dead.
Yeah.
That was it. She would have been killed. Ezra would never have been found. And I don't know.
But I mean, there's so many choices in Star Wars that go along. I mean, why didn't Obi-Wan kill Vader?
Yeah,
when he had a chance to, both when he fought Anakin and Vader and Kenobi, like he just walked away from him twice. He could have, so everybody could say you could have saved a lot of heartache by just killing your friend and whatnot, but he didn't. So it's like, okay, Sabine's choice, you know.
Luke did the same thing in Empire Strikes Back. You know, he walked away from the training that he was supposed to do and to go save his friends. You know, he followed the emotional path.
Exactly.
Right. So it's just another in a long list of choices.
Right. So right here, and we're going to get into this right now. Gordon's saying, I'm still having a hard time liking Sabine right now. Yeah. I'm there. I'm kind of there because it's like, it is almost like where I have the thought process of where Ahsoka's at with Sabine. You know, what the hell are you doing? I told you not to do this and you did it anyway. That's where I'm just like, but again, what's going to happen? What's going to come to fruition? What her choice, what her excuse is. Now, when we get to Sabine finding Ezra, okay, and we'll get to Ezra, but he was like, I have so many questions. She was just like, Just let me enjoy this moment, because basically when I tell you what's going on, you're probably not going to like that I'm here. Because Ezra is Ezra, and Ezra would be like, you should just let me die. And I think that's what had been his response if Sabine told him right there. But she needed that moment with him. And honestly, Ezra probably needs this moment too, because if he goes into like, I'm here, but guess what? The fate of the, shit's going down. Yeah. It probably would have been a very ugly argument, which probably will happen too. She's going to tell him, or he's going to find out. Right.
Yep. Yeah. So turns out I really like this Ezra look.
Yeah, I do too.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their reunion too, man. Yeah. Go ahead.
He had the 2 scars on his cheek. Yeah.
All sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. I really liked their reunion. Sabine and Ezra, how he kind of like, said something, she turned around, they had this little banter, and then they embraced. It was like, oh my God, that was really cool. Right.
Yeah.
I bought into it. I was like, man, I was kind of worried about what was going to happen when they do find him. To find him safe, quote unquote safe, and with living amongst these things, and
same personality. That is Ezra right there.
Yeah, great job on casting there.
Thanking her for finding him too, for basically rescuing, because he asked like, what ship? Where's the ship? Can we get to your ship? Kind of deal. Like he asked her
right.
Too. Yeah, so I was like, oh.
What time do we leave?
Going back to Sabine just for a second. Sabine's always made these choices, though. I think we talked about that last week, is that she's always kind of made the wrong choices in her life. It's a pattern,
Sure.
and it's always in the service of family over everything else be damned. It's always in the service of, bettering the family.
Wrong choices for right reasons.
Exactly. Her choice doesn't surprise me. I'm on board. I like the actress. Every time I see her on screen now, I see Sabine. So personally, I'm 100% in her choices, because it fits the character and the actress as a whole, because she looks and acts like Sabine.
Yeah. I agree half of that, but I disagree on the choice. I don't think I think it's out of character.
Oh, no.
I think so. For her to, I think it's out of character for her to ignore what Ahsoka told her. It didn't sink in, being like, if you go after this, you're possibly gonna bring in Thrawn and all these other bad things. But it was a selfish reason. Like I said, I'm in the mindset of what Ahsoka's doing right now with Sabine. It's like, I don't think she can make. I don't think she makes those decisions. You know what I mean? There's something else that's eating it. And from the beginning of the series, there's something that's really conflicted with Sabine, and it hasn't really come to fruition just yet. Like the Ahsoka damage was so bad that there was no love interest with Sabine. There was no, other than like, come find me, whatever it is. It's been so long. This is not a recent passing. And
right, but in the meantime,
so long.
In the in between, she's lost everything. She lost Ezra. Again, she lost her planet. She lost her family. Yeah. I don't know, man. To me, for me, it fits her personality and her past choices perfectly. So we'll agree. But
she didn't lose everything. That's the whole
one.
thing. She didn't lose everything. She had Hera. She had Jason. She had Zeb. She had Ahsoka in a way, but conflicted. To go and destroy the universe to get just to go and see if he's alive. I'm going to give the enemy what they want so I can get. It's just, when has she ever done that? You know what I mean? And I know things change. Again, I get that this is Sabine now versus what we know of her.
It's a deeper conversation. I think it's a full-on breakdown of Sabine's character that needs to happen, because there are.
Well, this is the first time I'm seeing this out of her, like this selfish choice.
Well, she gave a weapon to the Empire to destroy Mandalorians, right?
All
bad
of Mandalorians.
Decision. She wouldn't keep the Darksaber and gave it away without fighting. Bad decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. That's what we're saying here is just bad decision after bad decision, and things that were meant for good reasons turn out bad. Like right here is something, the third one, where it's a good decision, bad decision for good reason. How's it going to turn out? It's the third time's a charm.
It usually turns out okay in the end, but there's a lot of struggle that goes out in the meantime.
The Darksaber didn't turn out all right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, Now it did.
No,
eventually.
Well, now, yeah. I mean,
eventually, the ship gets righted. I get that. There's always like that. You gotta, it goes sways this way, and it gets okay. Now we're back to norm. But again, until someone takes it again and whatever. But
we're also missing a chunk of the pie too, where it's something happened to Mandalore. We had the Night of 1,000 Tears, where everything was wiped out. Her family was killed. Everything. They mentioned something briefly about Ahsoka not having a part in that, but there was something about Ahsoka and Sabine, along with the destruction of Mandalore, that drove them apart. Yeah. So, she didn't. I mean, I guess, but Ahsoka left her. So,
she stopped training her, right? Yeah, like
she left.
And the reason, the reason why she stopped training her is because she didn't have, like what Hu Yang is saying. You're like the worst student ever. You don't have the Force, and that probably made. But again, you're right. It probably merits, and we have to see what happens. We have to see what happens. And as far as like her reasoning, because she really hasn't explained anything other than she got to Ezra. Ezra questioned her. She said, look, I'll tell you later. I just don't want to tell you right now. Can we just enjoy this moment? And so I think that's when we'll get her decision to do it. Now, because what's making me a little bit feel better about Sabine is what Hu Yang said. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's what he said. Maybe she saw only one way through this. And that could be her Force abilities rather than moving rocks too.
Oh shit! So, she's Doctor Strange. She's Doctor Strange. Out of all the things, there was one. This is the one. Get Ezra, and he can fix everything.
And maybe, like I said, maybe that's her way of her connecting with the Force. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I said, and this is the good. This isn't a bad thing when I say it's out of character for her. This is a good thing because this is where Ahsoka's head's at, and that's where I'm at. In that thing, you know what I mean? What do you think, Ernie? Do you think it's out of character for Sabine to do this, or you think it's like, oh, she's got this master plan?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because, I mean, what the points that we're bringing up, right? She has made bad decisions the whole time. The only part of where she is at this point and what we know is she's also lost her whole family, and supposedly that was Ahsoka's fault, from what.
The Siege of Mandalore?
Baylon says. Well, no.
The Night of 1,000 Tears.
Night of 1,000 Tears.
He said, that was your master's fault. So we still need that explained as well, too. Was it a bad decision? Yeah. At the same time, she feels that she doesn't know Ahsoka's alive and coming to come get her.
That's true, too.
She does.
But she's not without. That's what I'm saying. Like, she wasn't, at that moment, she wasn't totally without. She had Hera, she had family, like people who
but we
she
all
was with the whole time
apart though. We don't
but Ezra like
Hera
but I'm saying like Ezra is Schrodinger box right now. We don't know if he's alive or dead, so why take that chance by giving the enemy what they want?
He was living in his house, dude. He was. I'm serious. For all this year,
I get it, man.
He was living in his house the whole time. She's gonna make the decision.
She loves her brother.
Hug, the whole awkward hug, though. See, and this is the difference: is that awkward hug came in because I feel that she does love him now. He doesn't know where to stand. Is he in the friend zone still? Because they were older. No, honestly, when they left, he was way younger, liking her, and she was more of the "you're a cool brother." Friend zoned him. He doesn't know where he still is. To where now her love for him has actually grown. I'm living in your house. I've lost my family. I have not. I don't. I fell out with Ahsoka. I barely get to see Hera. Zeb may video call me every now and then. So, I mean, you have to think of it in that way. She's been in his house this whole time, feeling away. She even stepped away from her training, is now back in it. She thinks Ahsoka's dead. She finally gets to see him, and he's like,
it'd be different if she found like a beacon that it could be Ezra contact me or it could not. It's just like one of those things like I'm blindly doing it. Again, Filoni's sitting back. He's got it all written down. He's like, just wait and see. Like he's just wait and see. And I'm cool with that.
And I am.
No, I don't think so. I think she now has a love for him and doesn't know how. And that's why not explain to him. If it was your brother, I messed up just to get you here. We're gonna die here. Ahsoka's gone. Instead, she wanted the moment. She even said, "Give me this moment." Like I finally found you. Maybe even too.
Was Sabine there when? Was Sabine present when they were talking about how long to take off? Was she in that room? I think she was, right? Like she was hostage.
He told her. He told her, we'll leave, when we leave, you're stuck.
Gotcha. But did she know the time frame? Does she know the time frame? I think so.
I'm running with the assumption that she does.
Okay, because she might have that in the back of her head, like the ship that we got to get on is actually that one. You know, it's not the ship. Like,
she has to convince him to go back with Thrawn.
Yes.
Yeah. So exactly.
In her mind, not knowing that Ahsoka is following.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. Is I feel it's a whole love thing. I think she realized. Well, I love this.
I get that.
Now is the time. So
I can, like I said, I can understand that. And she took a big shot by finding him. There you go. And I know, but but again, she's got to explain to Ezra, and I want to see his reaction about this. Like that's going to be cool too, to see like what the F did you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Ezra's reaction is going to be like kind of like, you should have just let me die here. If this is the way for you to get to me by bringing these guys or bringing whatever's happening, and that's going to be a cool, interesting thing. Again, might throw Sabine into a tizzy too, like it would kind of like a tailspin, and I don't know. It's cool character development no matter what. Like, you know, I know, like I said, I've been reading the chat and stuff, and we're all kind of like same page, different page, going all over the place, which is good again because it's got us talking about it. You know,
it keeps with the story, but just opposite.
Yeah.
First, you know, Luke likes Leia, ends up being his sister, and now we have them two. Then we had Rey and Kylo, and now they're ended up together.
I know.
You know, and so this is what I'm saying. It's all there, part of the. Part of the poetry, part of the rhyme.
It's poetry. So. It rhymes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what Baylon's trying to stop. He's trying to stop the poetry. He's trying to stop it.
And that whole thing of him saying that too is that what beginning, what everything? Are you trying to end it all? Like, are you?
Well, if the beginning there was nothing, he wants to go back to that. That's, you know.
Correct. And what is there that he's looking for? Because at first, through these other past episodes, it almost seemed as if his power was coming from Thrawn. Wait till we find Thrawn. Thrawn's gonna, you know.
I mean, he's always been he's always said the thing like, look, when we get the Thrawn,
I always thought where they were going was the power. I didn't think it was Thrawn. I think he said Thrawn's going to do his thing. He'll bring war. That's I'm going for something else.
Exactly what I was just going to say. Thrawn's like, he's just saying like, yeah, we're going to bring Thrawn. He's going to be doing his thing. But like, I got this other bigger vision that's going to go beyond because Thrawn is part of that cycle he was talking about, you know. He's part of that problem Baylon sees, you know, and
he's the Empire part. He'll come in, they'll try to rise, take down the Jedi, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this, and I'm either going to destroy the galaxy or rule it or whatever he's going to do.
Yeah. My head is on, you know, just spinning because of like the series so far. And to conclude and start, we get out of here and stuff. I know that we can probably go another 2 hours and whatnot.
At least.
I don't know if there's anything else. I'm sure we'll hit on more as we podcast more. And
I want to leave it here. Do we think, or at least ask this question, not leave it here, that Baylon, Shin, Ezra, and Sabine will be stuck together until Ahsoka gets there?
Okay. I was talking to somebody today and I go, okay, you know, we got 2 episodes left and this is going to be, like I said, all the players are in play now, right? Either 2 things are going to happen in my head. Either they're all going to get on the ship and leave together, like, you know, either if it's unbeknownst to everybody, which is to me the boring part, or Thrawn's the only one that's going to be on that ship when it heads back. And who's stuck on Paridia is going to be Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, Baylon, Shin, and Morgan. That's and that's again, I'm just kind of going with this, not saying that's the final. And then the problem's gonna be like, we're gonna be left with like, oh, there is no way off this because they said it a couple times. And why would you keep repeating it? When this ship leaves you here forever, this is a graveyard of the Purgle. There's no way out of here. There's no way to contact anybody. If the Night Sisters leave with them, they're not gonna. I mean, it's done. If you put it in that aspect, I mean, what we've been presented, we know it's a death sentence, right? They're on there forever. There's nothing you can do. Now, whatever else that they can discover, what Baylon's trying to find as far as technology or whatever it is, maybe they all have to work together to get off the planet. But
that's where it's going to come. They're all going to get stuck. He's going to be like, "This is what I need to blah blah blah." They'll all have to be on the same quest.
Yeah, but what if Thrawn's the only one with his legion takes on the Scion with the Night Sisters and takes off. Like he's
They'll find
boom gone, and now we're stuck on Paridia with our cast going like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like Thrawn left us all, and he's doing his thing because that that puts it in such dire peril. I mean, really, like you think about, and it could go into Mandalorian season 4, right? Now you have Thrawn comes back. The Shadow Council. He's back. He gets the remnants of the Empire, scattered Empire. You have Hera and Carson and everybody. Like, okay, now we've got to fight this thing with the Mandalorian, all that stuff. And in the meantime, you have the struggle of either if it's intertwined with Mando or Ahsoka season 2, of them trying to get off of Pridia and like Baylon doing that whatever because they're setting it up for something like that. Like in 2 episodes in 2 weeks, if we find out, like I said, Thrawn's the only one that takes off, that'd be interesting as hell to me.
I'm sitting here trying to talk myself out of because I had this thought yesterday. What if at the end of this, everybody is stuck there? Like the ring of the Eye of Sion is destroyed and everybody is stuck there to battle. And that would really suck. But I mean, it would take a lot of the pieces off the board that.
Right.
But
well, that's what I brought up.
No, that would really suck. And I don't want that
off the board.
That's what I like brought up. I said, maybe the fight will never come back. It'll just stay there. And that's where I was like, okay, that's kind of boring because Chris was like,
this is, I'm assuming this is new space to them, right? This is what they're called new space. Yeah. Skeleton Crew is going to be here too. Something's going to happen where there's a way to get back and forth. Something.
Force users could manipulate the hyperspace lanes to navigate hyperspace too.
Like the Skywalkers in Thrawn.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just So it's interesting and to say the least. But again, I am expecting some sort of cliffhanger like that where it's dire and because it's neat, like if I wouldn't say Thrawn is stuck. I would say Thrawn's the only one that leaves.
Yeah,
and not really on purpose. It's just that like at the end of everything, he's the one that leaves, and then he comes back. Then you see him with the Shadow Council. You know what I mean? Like that.
That'd be cool. I think the only series that has ended in sort of a cliffhanger so far has been Andor, because we know it's building up to something, right? Everything else has had a nice little bow put on the end,
especially season 3 of Mando, right? And so this will be a new chapter in that. Thrawn's back with the Shadow Council, and again. And this is again going with Baylon and saying with the cycles, Thrawn and that council is the First Order rising, and it's fitting with the sequels. It's fitting with it, you know what I mean? So Thrawn has something to do with the First Order.
What bothers me and not bothers me at the same time is it kind of throws out the books so far, what the books have filled in that time frame with, which has been kind of nonsensical anyway. And kind of blah. And I'm fine with that, but it's, they made a big deal of everything is canon now going forward. So
but we also have to finalize this time frame and be like,
muted,
okay,
Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
Which part is going to screw? Because they've said that what they've been careful to say, if I recall, because I think we've talked about this, is they've lived in relative peace for 30 years. Right. Relative peace. So like the Civil War took 20 years, right? The Clone Wars were a group of 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
This is going to
First Order made themselves known in the Force Awakens, like as a presence, right?
As a declaration. Yeah.
A declaration, and they lasted a day and 2 days.
Is that the part you're worried about though? Because the canon was saying there was no war, no peace, there was been peace. Is that kind of the issue?
Yeah, exactly. Relative peace. And you would think that having Thrawn on board kicking up shit would be more than just a relative.
It's not going to be.
It depends on how deep it gets and if it becomes war or just him being like a warlord, coming after people and then him handling it. That is just dealing with a criminal. Right.
Yeah.
But this is like I said, this is the sequel tie-ins, right? Why is Senator Leia a senator still when she breaks off and forms the resistance or whatever? It's because what Chris was saying about Mon and that's just no confidence in the whole thing, that it actually has to split because one half is going to see a threat. The other half is going to go business as usual. And everybody's going to believe the business as usual when the First Order rises from the ashes of the Empire, literally. And then you have the luminous threat of the Emperor that nobody knows about. He's doing his own thing until we get to that. But the whole thing is about the First Order rising. It's going to be in the background of things where you might have conflict and the whispers of things and the buildup of it. I don't know about the conflict is going to be Ahsoka, Thrawn, like the major players involved, but the mechanics involved, the politics and the armies will build up behind the scenes, and then Force Awakens make themselves known. So, but the big conflict is going to be Ahsoka versus Thrawn, or Baylon versus Ahsoka. Something is going to build up to where we're going to have these battles that they're going to, finalize. Leia's going to be involved, and she's going to be like, I see a threat. I can't prove it, or I can't, but no one's believing me. So guess what I'm doing? I'm forming my own resistance against any other empirical, empire.
That would throw off canon, because that didn't start until Bloodline.
Right.
Well, maybe it takes that long. I'm
okay with that, because Bloodline was written so long ago that adjusting that a little bit wouldn't be a huge deal. This could be the inner workings. Like, it's not like I didn't ever think about it. It's just would be the beginning of it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That just sucks because Bloodline is one of those that's really good. That's
the problem. It's one of the best books. The problem is it was written way in the beginning of canon.
Yeah.
See, Kicking Bird is your comment right here is exactly what we're trying to explain away. We're trying to explain
that's what set me off on my train of thought of them all being stuck there in that other galaxy. And you had mentioned, Mooch, that I think you had mentioned that Chris maybe mentioned it. Is this the new space? I think this is super old space. It's like super old space. They're going to somewhere else in I think personally,
like I said, I think this galaxy is desolate. I don't think there's a lot of life left on here. I that's what I'm thinking. Because it's cooler. It's just cooler. It's just my way of focusing on the galaxy that we know. That's but
and it's all very old space, but it's new to them, is what I was saying, Scott. It's new to them. Nothing. It didn't just create space.
I know. I was having fun with you, but still, it's.
But oh my God, guys, we got 2 episodes left, and I think this is, like I said, this is the episode we were waiting for from day one. You know what I mean? The one we got last week was bonus, but geez, I think it will come back around, because Thrawn did mention he wants to know everything about Ahsoka, everything, who her master. And then when he puts it all together, he's going to use that against her. And
if he knows,
and then last week's episode lessons are going to come back to play with Ahsoka. See,
he's going to talk about knowing Anakin and Darth Vader. And blah blah blah. It's gonna,
and he's gonna use that against her, and then she's gonna learn from her interactions in the world between worlds to counter that, to counter Thrawn. Her lessons learned by Anakin in the world between worlds. There's a reason why that was there, and when she went through those trials as she was knocked unconscious, she went through those revelation or whatever it was. It's gonna come back to play, and it's going to be Thrawn using that against her. Like, you're the one why Anakin turned bad. You're the one that, I
love that idea.
Yeah. Because I at this point, it's like Dave Filoni doesn't just throw things out there just to throw it out there. It's like,
there's always a plan.
And even if it didn't, it's still cool as hell. It's still a life lesson Ahsoka learned. So, I mean, we're in good shape no matter what, man. And I gotta say, like, it always goes in the back of my mind, how much I gloat over Andor, and it's a lot of it's because the look and the time. I love it, but Chris is 100% right when it's like the heart and soul of Star Wars is what we're getting at Ahsoka, which is Force factions, Imperial factions. Like you have the politics, but they're there, but they're not the forefront. Right now it's the conflict with
there's evil and impending doom, and there's clear good guys with happiness and goals to become make things better. It's both. You got the good versus evil, you got everything, and so every character has developed. We all know how much every character has developed over time, right? I'm sure they'll develop them in this series. As a matter of fact, they're already doing well with Ahsoka. The Ahsoka the White transition was awesome last week, by the way. I know I didn't get to talk about it. But a lot of great things in here, right? Like, hell, the only character in all of Star Wars right now with any character development is Mon Mothma. But this show is doing
the character development that's going going south.
No, it's not. It hasn't moved at all since 1983.
Yeah.
Well, we could have built her up. Now the character development is showing us how we built her up incorrectly.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's like
this whole thing. I'm so happy with the show, dude. I can't even tell you. It's
ridiculous. That's what it is. It's like I'm so excited, but I don't want it to end at the same time because, like, oh my god, like, you know, I'm so happy to be in this moment.
Let's get rid of this writer strike so we can get back to some more Star Wars, right?
I agree. God,
pay them what they want. Just let's do it. Come on.
Or come to an agreement in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come to the table. But
I'm desperate. I need more of this. Just pay them.
Yeah,
but all right,
there's some
guys.
shitty shows out there too. Don't pay everybody what they want, but pay these guys whatever the fuck they want.
Star Wars people. Yeah.
Give Filoni whatever he wants.
That's right. There's a few people. We have a list. That's a very short.
All I seen was written by Dave Filoni.
That's it. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's get out of here. I know there's a lot more. Like I said, there's a lot more deep dives and there's a lot more stuff to go through. And of course, next week we'll get more information. And you know, we continue the talk in our personal lives, our Star Wars community channel, Facebook. We continue this thing going forward and all that. So because Ernie is back, I'm going to kick it over to him to kick us out of here. But thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for getting up at 4 a.m. I think Cliff was in the chat.
I was here with William Scott Crawford. I couldn't let him be the only one.
Yeah, so I think Cliff might be on a business meeting in Europe too because he said he's
that's right. He did say that.
Yeah,
Cliff did say he was up at 4.
But thanks, Cliff. Awesome, you know, for getting up. Scott, everybody, like, it's so cool to for you guys to do that. And Chris will be home. We got Ernie home safe. We sent the Purgles out to find him. We found him safe. I listened to your Fallen Fat Chronicles. Yeah,
Chris.
I was listening to your show, Ernie, and so like I love to hear the stories that you had for, you know, your time and everything, and it sucks about your rush flight on the way home. So
that was crazy, man.
For an amazing story, go watch what Ernie just put down right before the show, and help this guy get to a 500 subs, man. I mean, we got to get this guy up there. So, best of luck for you on that.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
Chris is back.
Sorry.
Chris is back.
All right, you do it.
All right, I'll do it.
All right, I'll do it. All right.
What the hell?
I don't know, Chris. Just go with it, man. Just go with it. But Chris will be back in studio next week. Hopefully, have a safe flight back, man. We'll get together, go bowling soon again. I just recovered from the last time I just stopped getting sore.
My finger still hurts.
I've been bowling. I bowled here twice.
Nice.
Did you really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, Mr. Scott Dubs also, and by far the show is beyond satisfying. That should be a shirt right there. That is a shirt. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, Julianne, just real fast before we go, do you think the Filoni would bring the Bad Batch into his movie? There's a lot of time in between what Bad Batch is and his movie is going to be, so only time will tell.
Rex should still be alive, so
Rex may have died by old age by now.
Yeah, by old age.
You shut your whore mouth.
I
What's
know.
wrong with you?
I know. We got some Rex last week, right? Which phenomenal. But that might be the Rex.
Yeah. Mr. Scott Dubb. Oh, wait, we're bowling now? We are. We're gonna have the Sarlacc team. What are we called?
The best pins.
the best pins.
The best pins. That's great.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Qui-Gon pins was kicked around too.
Yeah,
but
Qui-Gon pins
is better.
It's what we decided on. But thank you guys so much. Thank you everybody in the pit for showing up, and just making this show exciting. And all your guys' comments and questions were so cool. I didn't get to all of you, but I read them all. Trust me. And I have a lot of food for thought, a lot of digesting of my own to get through, things. So thank you very much, Ernie. Kick us out of here, man.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. Remember, hit that thumbs up on your way out. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you don't miss when we're on. And we will see you next week. Until then, please join us on Sarlacc Digest Central on Facebook for 24 Star Wars talk, 24/7 Star Wars talk in our Star Wars community. Don't forget to check out our page and order some of that merch. And then just tag us on Instagram or Twitter, where we're also at, and TikTok as well. Be sure and be here between catching up on episodes or rewatches on all our great content that we have here, from reviews to news to Moocher Mondays and much, much more. It's all labeled here. We will see you guys next week. Remember, just tag us. We're on all social media. We'll see you then.
All right. With that, Scott.
Keep it nerdy, everybody. What's on the back of the shirt?
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.